And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the bottom line. Lanning Ford Remember, apologize for last night. Juju had gate duty with his real job, and I had my real job that wouldn't quit till about 8:30 last night. I almost missed the first game of church volleyball season. Not that I play. I am a spectator. Most of the times I'm on the line. I'm a lines official, which my family hate because I call it like I see it. I get those, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, yeah, is he in or is out, whatever. But David Fry likes me to work the lines because he knows how I'll call it like it is. There's no fudging either way. We're glad to have you along with us here this morning. Miss Kay thought that I was already at the beach, and I said, no, I wish,
not yet.
But not yet. But be there, good Lord willing, creek don't rise. We'll be there next week. We'll be pulling out of the big city next week about this time, headed south. Where are we playing Monday?
Diamondback on the way down.
Diamondback on the way down.
About 30 minutes from our final destination.
There we go.
Yep.
My wife asked me yesterday, well, I was eating at Don's last night. She said, where are you staying? I said, I don't know. Let me look. I said, all I know is I'm riding with 4.
That's right.
I said, I'm just going on a trip, and I'm not in charge of anything. And I like it like that.
You'll be attending, on your trip down, you'll be attending the Robbie Abernathy lecture series.
I'm good. I've got lots of questions.
Of American history.
I've got lots of questions.
And he will be able to answer them all.
I've got lots of questions. That'll be fine. Yes. I can deal with that.
It is incredible.
I can deal with that. I'm completely
We've never made it through more than 2 topics.
2 topics. Wow.
Yes. One lasted, 3 hours, and then the second was about 35, 40 minutes because I actually knew something about that one. So
so you contribute to the conversation on the answer side too?
But that was 5 years ago.
That's awesome. Now let me tell you this. Robbie Abernathy, he already in there said, fire away. Yeah. Give me your questions.
No, he knows.
No, I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to give you a chance to study.
Oh, yeah. He's really good. He'll read up. And if there is a topic that you want to know about that you don't have time that interests you, you can give it to him, and he'll be ready for it next week. So we do that sometimes, too.
Okay.
This year, I'm
Stephen,
just
good morning. Richie, good morning. Glad to have you guys with us. Now, I will say there'll be no shows next week except we will have a show on Thursday morning.
Yep.
Live from the beach. That's our day off from golf. We're taking Thursday off, and we're basically just going to eat all day.
Yes.
Low Country Bowl.
Stephen and Travis have a Low Country Bowl, and it will last from about 9 a.m. until about 11 p.m.
I'm a grazer.
9 a.m. to about 11 p.m. that night.
I'm a grazer, so that's completely okay.
You're going with a bunch of grazers.
Yeah, that's all right. I like to eat. So we will have a show live from Myrtle Beach next Thursday. Nothing happens, so you guys can tune in for that. Who knows? I might pop in a little bit during the week.
Yeah.
You never know. I'm taking the gear. the gear, so we're good to go. Yeah, man. I'll have everything with me. I travel with everything that I need. Now, the one thing that I'm not going to do, today, is talk about Chris Rock and Will Smith. That was the only thing that happened in the Oscars that even made me know that there was the Oscars, because I don't watch the Oscars. If a movie wins an Oscar, I probably haven't seen it.
Yeah,
there's very few movies that are critically acclaimed.
Caddyshack
wasn't nominated. Right. Animal House wasn't nominated. Down Periscope wasn't nominated.
Golf Trip 2022 is not yet. The
Pineapple Cup. So. What happens at the beach stays at the beach. Just remember that. Now, I saw something yesterday that I want to approach this gently, okay? I knew that something had happened, and usually when you mandate things, it swings the pendulum too far, is what I'm saying. But the 32 NFL owners yesterday agreed to a change they called it a policy enhancement to the Rooney Rule, that all teams will hire a minority offensive assistant coach for the 2022 season. Now, can be female or a member of an ethnic or racial minority. Now, the only thing that I don't know is what if you already have that position filled on your staff or more than that. I know there's a couple of women that have been added to the staff, and there's a lot of minority coaches as assistants on every team. I mean, that's not uncommon. Even coordinators. So I'm not sure why they did this. Now, the only thing, so I'm guessing they're adding this, but these positions are going to be paid from a league-wide fund, okay? And what they're hoping to do is put people in that they want to work closely with the head coach, offensive staff. So that tells you that the NFL has skewed the rules to the offense. That right there tells you that when they're wanting to groom some of these assistants that they bring in and they want them on the offensive side of the ball, that tells you that the NFL has skewed the rules. They've skewed the way the philosophy is with the league to go to more offensive minded. That's another point that I don't really like, I guess you would say. They're hoping that it's something that will become stepping stones for a head coach that are in coordinator positions. And this came from Pittsburgh Steelers owner Art Rooney, who's had a person of color as a head coach for, is it 17 years? Tomlin's been there 15 or 17 years. My only problem, I don't have a problem with people of any race, sex, whatever, in a job. I just don't like it when it's mandated, because if it's mandated, it just kind of, I think it tilts the pendulum too far. I've always said, and I've said this and I mean this wholeheartedly, I know there are some franchises out there that do not give a fair shake to every candidate that comes along. And that's in anything. I don't care what it is. But at the same time, I think franchises, team owners, coaches, whatever, if they want to win, they throw all of that out the window and they go with the best candidate that gives them the most opportunity to accomplish their end goal, which is win championships. I mean, to me, that's what I would look at. The rest of it doesn't matter. Your socioeconomic situation, your color, your gender, none of that matters. Can you contribute and be a part of what we're trying to accomplish? Are you the best candidate to fit that position to give the people that are looking up to you the leadership that they need to become better people? That's what I look at.
Yeah, there's a lot of, obviously a lot of, rule changes and mandates and things that are going on, and it's they're trying to find some common ground, based on equity and the like. I look at for example, there's a lot of questions, and I was reading on it a little bit yesterday about the guy that's now the head coach for the Dolphins,
mm-hmm.
and basically started as an offensive analyst or something
mm-hmm.
with the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Straight out of college, he went to Yale.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he played college football. It didn't
mm-hmm.
say that he did. He
mm-hmm.
played high school football, of course.
Bill Belichick.
Right. Okay. And then he, studied under Kyle Shanahan, been with 5 or 6 different teams back with Shanahan, and has the opportunity. I don't know. And again, this is all in Miami, but when I look at that guy and listen to him, now I can't judge him because he hasn't coached yet in a game,
mm-hmm.
As far as being the head coach. But, Brian Flores is to me is there must have been something else going on down there.
But that's a dysfunctional organization, period. And it has been for years with Stephen Ross.
And what's interesting is they bring in all this high laden talent,
mm-hmm.
and then they've got Tua as quarterback. And, you're either on the Tua bandwagon or you're completely off.
He's not a top 15.
There's no in between. And,
mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people say he throws the softest, best ball in NFL to be able to catch. A lot of receivers will say that. And then there's a lot of receivers that don't say that. And there's a lot of analysts that, like I said, it's either,
mm-hmm.
all or none. And I just, there's a lot of disparity in the league. And I think that's the thing they're trying to address. It all goes back to another discussion that we'd had several weeks ago about Eric Bieniemy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is it? Because they were even thinking about not renewing him at Kansas City. And I don't think it was performance, but I just think it had to do contractually because they weren't saying anything else about it. And I think he did. Is that right?
He did, but they lost so many other pieces.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But don't you think I don't have a problem with the Bieniemy thing, and part of what may be holding him back is maybe they're looking at between him and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they should be the annual Super Bowl champion, and maybe they're not seeing the growth, and I think that's what the Chiefs were looking at. They weren't seeing the growth in Patrick Mahomes that maybe they needed.
How much better can he get?
I don't know.
No, to your point,
I mean, you've got one of the best schemers, offensive minds that's ever been in the NFL with
is
Andy
it
Reid.
Too much. My thing is they're doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can be. It's almost like you can outcoach yourself.
Mm-hmm. Now, you can overthink stuff.
Yeah,
no doubt
I'm not
about
accusing them of that. I'm just bringing that up for maybe a discussion. Something to think about. But the whole thing with with how people are hired and this, that, and the other. Times are different, and we have a lot more people that are involved, and it just seems like trying to get to the right place where the best people.
Really short
in that spot.
Really short proving windows.
Well,
they don't give you a lot of times, whether you're an assistant or a head coach or whatever.
Right. And the thing about it is, it's like anything else. You can say you're salaried, but you really are paid on your expertise.
That's correct.
And the ability to replace you. Okay. And so, I'm kind of like you. I would like if they truly want growth and development to occur within the coaches and the players, then you make it incentive-based all the way. And that's just something.
See, I've always felt that way. Yeah, the same way on players.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be incentive-based. But the thing is, they say, well, you can't do that because then they're looking individually. No. You got to tie it not only to individuals' performance but team performance as well.
Yeah.
It can't just be individually because you have to be able to contribute as a whole.
Well, I think you're right, but I think that's if your goal is for your organization to be successful instead of just making money.
Mm-hmm.
We can look at several organizations, and probably the most popular one, Dallas. The appearance is that they want to win, but how much money is generated and how much revenue is generated?
Yankees are the same way.
It's there's the Panthers
mm-hmm.
are when you look at the Panthers, do you say yes they're doing everything they can to compete for a Super Bowl? I don't. Now I might be wrong, and that's okay. But I think things are
proofs in the pudding.
Yeah, and people have different goals about what they want to do, and what we all think we should things the way they should be are really in the eye of the one that's in
mm-hmm.
control of the behind the curtain.
That's right. Let me take a break, and when we come back, talk about this assistant thing, and we don't prep. Okay, it's just whatever's breaking. We just kind of roll with it. So I've got a follow-up question based on your experience that I'll ask you when we get back. But the question is, how important is it that an assistant or a head coach work in different environments for different people to kind of hone their skills more than just being totally homegrown or growing up through the system? That when we come back.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with departments staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call Full Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. And welcome back. Glad to have you here. 39 degrees and cloudy.
I like it.
It's cool. It's cool out here this morning. I had to change from the light windbreaker.
Yep.
I had to go back to the fleece pullover this morning. It's a little cool, and I looked at the weather and it said, well, windy and not getting out of the 50s. I said, yeah, I'll go a little something different. Yeah. I'll go a little something different.
Man, what a great time we had Sunday.
We did. Had a little golf tournament over the weekend. The only 2 updates that I'll give you is we didn't finish last.
We did not.
And I won closest to the pin on hole number 5.
Yes,
I bought a special club for that hole, and it paid off this weekend.
Yeah, I saw it in action. It was very impressive.
Yeah. I was pleased with the performance.
And we had 2 good playing partners with Coleman Williams and Mason Nolly, who both play for the high school golf team and coached
Baby
both.
Bull.
Yeah.
Baby Bull.
Yeah. Skinny Bull.
Yeah. Before we went to break, I asked this question, and I think it's important. And the reason I do is because, hey, Milton, good morning. I don't think that you can ever gain enough knowledge. And knowledge comes from doing, and knowledge comes from being exposed to different people, different techniques, different systems. I don't care whether it's sports. I don't care whether it's office and your job, whatever you do, everybody doesn't do it the same. Now, if you feel like you're the only person that can do what you do and do it perfectly, I'd like to meet you, because it's not me. And I've worked by myself. Most of the companies I've worked for, I've been the sole support person.
Right.
And, yeah, I'm able to do things the way I want to, but I'm also a lot of times in a situation where I can't figure something else out and I have nobody to ask. I've never been afraid to ask for help, okay?
Right.
And I've always said, even when I was teaching, I don't know everything, and that's not as important as knowing how to interpret the question and research and find the answer. So when you start talking about assistants, you start talking about employees, and it all goes back to this new mandate that they've got. It would be more important for me if I'm grooming a person to be a head coach. I want to look at where they've been, the systems that they've been in, the success they've had in those systems, why it worked, why it didn't work. I mean, all of those type things make you a better employee, teacher, coach. I've always said that, you need a first wife to really appreciate the second wife. That's always been one of my mottos. You got to learn. Don't laugh at me. Why are you laughing? So you can't get enough knowledge. So where do you stand on that? I coached with a guy that had never been an assistant.
Right.
So it was hard for him to understand the assistant roles if you've never been one.
That's right.
So
yep. So it's kind of like being a principal in a high school.
Mm-hmm.
If you have worked in the cafeteria, if you've been a janitor or a teacher assistant, then a teacher, then an athletic director, then assistant principal, then a principal, then you truly have an understanding of the foundation of the school. You have your perceptions. If you don't go through that process, well, this is what ought to be going over here, and this is what but then you have a fundamental understanding of everything that goes on. The same thing in coaching. The blessing, and I'll use a personal experience that I've had is my dad was a high school, teacher and coach for a long, long time. And I've been exposed to many, many different ways and ideas of doing things. So I had a very broad foundation, having been around, Brian Stanley down east when he was the head coach at Hallsboro that was in the same league as Tabor City. Frank Jernigan, who just passed away a few months ago, who was the head coach at Hallsboro that was from Tabor City, that was a long-time assistant there. Then he was the head coach at Fairmont and a couple other high schools as well down that way. I got to see that at a very young age. Then I got to see Dickie Foster, and then I got to see how my high school head coaches did it. And then when I went off to college and played baseball, for example, I got to, basically you learn more of what you don't want to do and what not to do by working for other people than you do really how to do things. It helps you formulate those ideas. It doesn't mean what they're doing is wrong or they're wrong at doing it, just the way that you do it.
And it doesn't mean what they're doing is right. It's for you to learn and interpret. Yes.
And a lot of times the head coaches, many of them may get offended when you ask something or you challenge something, but it's all in the name of learning and trying to contribute, even if you don't know exactly where your place is or where you start. You listen a lot and you question a lot of things to make sure you have understanding. If you want to be a good coach, not just being a butthead, but actually trying to fundamentally understand why or why not, because it does matter. Okay. And my college baseball coach showed me what kind of coach I do not want to be. That's why I'm over player oriented. And, a lot of people on the outside may say, yeah, but look at the way you coach them. Look how hard you coach them. My relationships with the guys that I've coached either 25, 30 years ago or now, I try to deepen those relationships with them to truly find out who they are so I know what it takes to reach them, so they can reach their maximum potential as a player and, importantly, as a person, right? So I think you're on the right track as far as is it more important just to go do something and that's the only way you do it, or a basket of experience is a very large basket. And in some of our cases, an 18-wheeler load of experiences, what mold us and shape us into what we are today. And I think, in the younger generation, and present company included, when I was young, I wanted to try to have all the answers and try to do everything. But at the same time, the failures that I had and understanding and the reality checks of, hey, wait a minute, you've always thought you need to do it this way. That's not necessarily the case. You can still achieve the same thing by taking a different angle at it or a different look at it, right? So, I have full disclosure, I have no original thoughts of my own. Everything that I've ever done or whatever has been stolen, right, from somebody else. You know what I mean? And that's from those experiences you're talking about.
Well, the other part of it is not only and I think it's changed from the time that I played, which was 45 years ago, to now. There really is a difference in the philosophy, the mindset of today's kids, today's parents, the whole thing. So the other problem is if you're a coach, you've got to learn to adapt, which I struggled with because it wasn't the way that you did it. And now, as much as knowing the X's and O's of it, it's understanding the psyche of today's kids and how to relate and coach to them to maximize their potential. And it's all individual. You can't do it as a group like you used to.
Yeah. Well, I think, and that's true, and I think the difference in today's world than, say, 30 and 40 years ago, even 25 years ago, is that our educational system, which I think is still set up this way today, is actually set up not to educate but to get people ready for the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to have workers, and instead of truly educating and having thinkers, right? And I think that because of these and access to information, that people have mistakenly thought, well, it makes me smarter if I have this, where this is just a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And if you use the resource right, it ups your level. So the way we communicate with young people and each other today is completely different
mm-hmm.
than 25, 30 years ago. You used to have a phone tree. You call this captain, he calls these 5 guys. You call this captain, he calls these 8 guys. That way you got to hold everybody in a matter of 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Today you just send out a massive message.
Mm-hmm.
You get a hold of everybody in 10
right.
seconds. And so I think it all has to do with communication. Now, I will tell you that the one thing I do think happens is once you get all of them on the same page,
mm-hmm.
then it goes back to the way it used to be, and they ought to be all on the same page. Then they get on the same page, and then they're just hell-bent on,
But you've done your part to understand how you get each individual on that
yes,
page.
And I go overboard.
It's not a blanket thing.
No, I
invest
my time.
That's right.
And my energy into understanding the players,
mm-hmm.
what their concerns are. I always tell kids, and I tell them this, I don't care about your feelings. What I'm saying is I care more about your emotional health
mm-hmm.
than, all these things going on because, this, that, you can get so distracted. When you get rid of the fluff,
mm-hmm.
it's amazing when you cut through that stuff, how high of achievement that people can get to. And it's all based on comfort, Lanny. And I think a lot of head coaches that have been head coaches for so long, they forgot what it was like to be an assistant, don't truly appreciate, but they can't because they don't know. Appreciate the rigors that go in, and just how hard it is at times, to be where you are, and you're trying to learn, but they don't have the patience because, I'm not faulting anybody. I'm
mm-hmm.
just saying that's just the way things are. And as an assistant, sometimes you have to overlook that and see it for what it is, and then try to find a way to communicate with the head coach on how you can learn more. And Coach Foster, I was only 10 years old, but I sat in as many meetings as I could and acted like I was back there writing stuff down on a piece of paper,
mm-hmm.
like coloring. What I was not. I was writing the football plays down and list everything that he and Randy Fawcett, Jerry Copas, Coach Foster, my dad, Claude Brewer, Nelson Watts, and then I did the same thing when I got to Maiden because I was pretty young then. I was just out of college for about not even a year, and sitting in those meetings and just listening to Coach Brown and Tom Brown and Fred Byrne. That was an amazing learning experience in its own.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I moved off to the mountains in search of being a head football coach at some point, right? Because I knew that wasn't going to happen at Maiden anytime mm-hmm. soon, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But having worked for a couple of head coaches, up that way and seeing them do things, then getting my own job, and then trying to implement, things that I'd learned, the reasons you should do it, the reasons you shouldn't. Those kind of things. So.
Well, I found out, and I've been a head coach, mm-hmm. and I have found out, and this even goes back to work, okay? I am not a good delegator. I'm a hands-on guy.
Right.
And it's about my name's on it, this is how I want it done, and that kind of thing. So I have found that I am better as an assistant mm-hmm. or like a coordinator than I am a head coach, for the simple reason of where my mindset is on what I want to get done.
Well, I will tell you that is very common, and I was never a delegator until I learned, even through my business that I have,
mm-hmm.
that I can't do everything. And when I started –
I ain't figured that out yet.
When I started, assigning things to people that I worked with, and then, having an accountability, level set, to make sure, and then, oversaw it instead of administered it. What was amazing was the quality of what I was doing overall, because of the people I was involving. My business just grew astronomically, and it's kind of like that in coaching. Like, I'm the defensive coordinator at Maiden, okay, or have been. I don't know what the fall may hold, whatever, but what I did was, I told Coach Byrne, I told Will, I said, this is the way, you show me what you want to do,
mm-hmm.
and, I'll implement, modify as we need to based on the athletes we got. And, of course, all that's been fine. And, we've done okay. what I did was, though, with the assistant coaches I got, I immediately met with them and I said, okay, this is what we'd like to do here. This is what we'd like to do here. And if they have a thought of maybe doing it a different way, we talk about it. I'm not going to tell them, no, I don't want to do that just as soon as they say it. I want to hear what they've got to say in case I haven't thought of something or they have a better idea. It's kind of like when I was on town council. I used to tell the council members, look, if I ask you why you voted that way that was different than me.
I'm not offending you.
I'm not asking you that because I can't believe you voted that way. I would like to know if there's something that you've thought of that I haven't seen or haven't heard. And if not, that's fine. We can, agree to disagree and go on. It's not a big deal. But I at least want to know. So when I come up and say, why did you vote that way? It's not because I'm saying you're stupid or you're not doing that's not what I mean. What I'm saying is tell me more about
you want to learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. If you are in the service to others and of others mindset, if you're in the me mindset, you don't do that. Then you only do it one way, no matter what. This is what's going to happen. Live or die, hell or come high water, this is what happens. And what happens is a lot more failure seeks in when times get tough, like the deeper you get into something, than the broad strokes of during like the season, right? And so that's what happens a lot. You'll see that a lot in especially in high school football.
Yeah.
You'll see that a tremendous amount.
Yeah.
And the flexibility and the best staffs are the collaborative staffs now.
Sure.
The world's changed. Now, it wasn't that way 35 years ago.
That's right.
Because everybody
kids
was
were
pretty
different.
much the same. Well, they were the same. They were going to go to high school, and they likely may or may not go to college. They're going to work locally, just like their parents did, just like their grandparents did. We've had a major transformation with technology. For the first time ever, kids were sitting up here, and the grandparents are trying to learn to do what the kids do instead of the kids learning what the grandparents and parents are doing. So now that inversion has almost flipped back because everybody's adverse. I say everybody, most people are adverse, and understand technology now. So yeah.
Richie gave a great example. He said working from so-called bottom up. He knows a guy that runs a very successful restaurant. When talking to him about how he got in the restaurant business, he told him that he always loved to cook. However, his restaurant is successful because he didn't just get a culinary degree and open a restaurant. He started at the bottom, bussing tables, washing dishes, then moved his way up before going to get that culinary degree. What he did was he understood the business, not just what he liked about it, but he had to build that foundation.
That's it.
And I've always said that, and in any job that I've had or done, I may have people that work for me that do different things, but there's not a job that somebody's doing that I can't do because I want to know every function that's in there. And that's always made me kind of hard-headed about things because I've always looked at it, if I'll do it and I'm in charge, you better believe you're going to do it because of whatever it is. Because when I go out to a store, if I've got to crawl in a nasty under a desk and whatever and fix stuff, that's part of my job. But I expect anybody else to do the same thing.
Yeah, well, and now to your point, what I've learned to understand is not everybody is as motivated to learn as much as they can about what they're doing and what it takes, and therefore there's certain things that they won't do or they feel like they're too good for. And I'll give you an example. When I got out of my student teaching and went to high school and teaching all this, I started off subbing at Jacobs Fort, and I subbed like 3 months for a math teacher, right? And then, I would sub maybe at Fred T. Ford for, a couple of days a week or 3 days a week or whatever after that. And then there were no jobs there during the summer, so Miss Long calls me from Maiden, and I go see, and I meet Butch, first person I meet, her and Miss. I knew Miss Long because she worked with my dad, Debbie Long, at Ford. And so, I met Coach Parker. He showed me around the school and everything, and Coach Brown was out of town, I believe, at a reunion, first time he'd ever gone to one. So, Butch told him, said, just go, man. You need to do that. It'd been several, like 30-some years. So he went, and so I took the job at Maiden, but it wasn't a teaching job. It was a teacher assistant job doing basically ISS. But then I also, ISS was a little different back then. It was more like lunch ISS and then Saturday morning attention. So if I needed to help sub in a class, I would do that. So I learned a lot of different things about how to do different things, how different teachers were. Also helped in the cafeteria. I go down there and help in the lunch line, help them, bring those heavy trays back, empty trash, whatever. And my point is, I did a couple of maintenance things too. And my point is I learned the foundations of what happened in school. So when I did become a teacher, I could appreciate those that helped me make things work in that school.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew how to forge relationships with the janitorial staff and the people that, made the school work behind the scenes. And then, as you go on being an AD and assistant principal, those kind of things, you learn how the school works. But having that good foundation is what helps build those relationships and deepen them, to your point. But what I had to learn to understand was, going back to what you were talking about, is not everybody wants to do that. There's certain people when they get out of school that they're too good to do this or do that. Think of the Great Recession, 2008. We had all these college kids that got out. They were told, no matter what you do, all you got to do is go to college and get a degree and the world will be your oyster. They got out. They're like, where's my oyster? There's no jobs. Everything's terrible. I got to live in my parents' basement. People got mad at them. You shouldn't be mad at them. They were doing exactly what you told them to do, but yet they would not go work at McDonald's because that was beneath them. They would not go deliver pizzas, even though they could make a couple $100 a night if they were, working, really working it, delivering those pizzas. They wouldn't do it because they had a degree and they, it was beneath them to do those things.
The other thing that I've always said, I think it's hard to be in charge of something if you do not understand or have worked in all the facets that are under you.
That's exactly right.
If you don't have an understanding, it's hard for you to make decisions and manage people when you don't know the job function that they're doing. And that's where I think there's a disconnect. It's hard, just like I was saying, I had a coach that had never been an assistant. Hard to be something if you've never experienced what the people you're responsible for are going through.
Yes.
You just don't know. Todd gives a good example. He said one of the first things he did when he became town manager was climb into a ditch on a water leak.
He said
I was much younger.
It was impressive. He didn't climb. He jumped in that ditch. I saw it.
Yep. And then
I saw it. It was
my
impressive.
wife says that's why we have a house cleaner. Lanny don't do it, so he doesn't make me do it. We discussed that before we got married, and that's correct. I'm not going to ask you to do something that I won't do, so you are correct. And then she said, my problem is he doesn't believe anyone can do to his liking, so he doesn't let it go of the reins. That's why he works from 5:30 to 9 o'clock every night. Well, somebody's got to do it, but that day will come, I promise. When I'll release the reins, and all of y'all won't like it. That's all I'm going to say. Let me take a break. We'll be back in a minute.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with departments staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Rember today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. And welcome back. We've hit 40 degrees for March the 29th. Yep. It's warming up, but it's not going to warm up much. You're not going to see more than 59 is what I saw this morning. I've got a little something warmer for today than I had yesterday. I'm going to be the Jeff Foxworthy character when I get old, where the kids sit around and say, all right, it's your time to take Daddy this week. I had him last week. You need to come get Daddy. Well, I've already told him that ain't going to happen. I want to be put in an old people's home, and the two requirements for that is I want it to be close enough where you can come and visit, but not so close that you feel obligated. And always call. I may be busy. That's all I'm going to say. So, back to sports. Sit for some other headlines. Women's NCAA got settled last night. The Chickens are still in it.
Yeah.
And it is 3 number ones and a number 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that NC State UConn game was pretty good.
Yep. That went to overtime.
A couple overtimes.
Oh, it went to a couple overtimes. I just saw OT, so I wasn't sure how many. But Louisville, and it's going to be Louisville and South Carolina.
Yeah.
In the finals. On one side, that's at 7 o'clock, and that will be Friday. And on the other side, on the nightcap, it will be Stanford and Connecticut. That's 3 1s and a 2. Yep. South Carolina, Louisville, Stanford are all number 1s, and Connecticut's a number 2. So whenever you start talking about the rankings and when they seed these teams, they usually get it right. I mean, you can see that by who comes in at the end. Yeah. So that is – and is South Carolina the defending champion? Is that correct?
They're pretty good, man.
Yeah, I thought they were.
Good.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the men's bracket too. The St. Peter's team had a great run, but Quinn and I were talking, my oldest boy, we were talking, right before the game came on. I told him, I said, we're not Carolina fans. I mean, I went to East Carolina, so I hate everybody, right? But I'm just kidding. But we were talking. I said, son, listen, what you're going to see in this game more than likely is there's a reason that these players are recruited and attend this university here, and there's a reason that these players are recruited and attend this university here. And that doesn't make anybody bad or wrong. You just are where you are because that's really where you want to be. And, you're going to see more than likely a great difference. He said, yeah, Dad, but these guys have been playing really good, and they've won these 2 games, and they've done it. I said, no, I understand that. But as you narrow things down through a filter, there's a reason that this team is here quite often, and this team's pretty much the first time they're coming through it.
15 national championships out of the last 40 years for the 4 teams that are in the Final Four.
Yeah. So, it's kind of like college
And
football.
then you get the conspiracy theorist. Well, they're skewing this thing for Coach K to win the last one.
I don't believe
Cowherd said it best yesterday.
It's not true.
If Coach K and Duke win it,
it will be because they are the best team, and he may be the greatest college. And I don't have a dog in the hunt.
No doubt.
I don't care about college basketball. But he's there because of who he is. I want to say that they have on that team. They have 4 first-round draft picks and a second round.
Very likely,
starters.
Very likely. And what's interesting is all we heard from Lenardi and all the other bracketologists are Duke is going to play 2 games and they'll be done, and that'll be the end of Coach K's career. And like we talked about on the show a couple of weeks ago, I said, these things are being skewed for a myriad of reasons. But what I don't understand is that the greatest basketball coach that's ever lived, arguably, is taking a team that is now not freshmen but now really sophomores, all right, because it's, the postseason. They've already played the season, so now they're theoretically in their sophomore year, and he is able to manipulate games and manipulate their mindset. And that's what it's all about. Anything you want to achieve, ability is second, mindset is first, and he is the master in college basketball of mindset. Calipari, excuse me, allergies are killing me. Calipari,
I know the feeling,
is the master of taking talent and maximizing that. But he's not the mastermind of manipulation to better. Well, I mean, manipulate. A lot of times people think manipulate means a bad thing. To make that player better and to think that he or she is a better player than they really are, because it gets them out of their comfort zone. It allows them to see things from an elevated standpoint, which means, holy cow, I can do this. And then all of a sudden their mindset is, well, I'm going to do this. It's not that I might do it now. I know I can go and do it. I'm just going to keep going. That is what is so unique about him.
When you get on the personal side of this, and I love reading these stories, and I've told people that I never really the only Coach K ever saw was one on TV. I knew how old Roy was because we did coaching shows. But he was a totally different person. I saw this story yesterday. I want to just mention it, talking about Krzyzewski. This is from Jamie Valvano. Jim Valvano's, I don't know if that's son or daughter. It said, in my dad's enduring 93 ESPY speech, he revealed how he felt about this man, talking about Coach K. He said, I rode on the plane today with Mike Krzyzewski, my good friend and wonderful coach. People don't realize he's 10 times a better person than he is a great coach. He's meant a lot to me in these last 5 or 6 months with my battle. 26 years have passed, and Coach K still serves on the V Foundation board and honors his dad's last request to help him cure cancer. Their bond transcends X's and O's. Cheers for your team, but recognize you certainly don't know the true hearts of individuals on the court. Right. There was another story that I read where he had supplied a ticket a year to a young man for 37 years to sit behind him who had Down syndrome. And it was because he had made a letter. He wrote a letter. And what made this so I guess unusual this year, this was the first year because this young man had passed away. He lived to be 60.
Right.
And his parents, the doctors and stuff, had wrote him off as a kid. And you don't know, and I know that Roy's done that, and I know that Dean did that. I know that they've all done that. They've all done that. And I have no problem with retelling those stories because they're great human interest stories. And that's why I kind of get upset when people want to beat up somebody. And most of the time, I don't want to be around anybody Saturday night. Especially if they're a fan of one of those two teams.
Oh, it's horrible.
I don't want to be around any part of that.
It's amazing that how loyal that the people are to those two teams that have never went to that university, particular one, but yet they are just, and it's actually a great thing, to have, that kind of passion to be involved in something that means so much to you. And I just like the back and forth and how people
take it personal,
get so upset.
Oh yes, take it very personal.
And in the end,
it don't really matter.
It does, but you know what? It's great, and it keeps debate alive. And Hey, it's a great.
It doesn't really matter.
It's a great thing.
Richie said he's still trying to figure out how you're a 1 seed and play in the backyard of the 2 seed. I don't know how they come up with that.
Hey, Richie, look at
me. yeah. And Duke has always been able to play like in Greensboro or somewhere.
Yeah, but it's about the draw.
It's about filling the seats.
It is.
Butts in the seats. That's what it is.
You can still
don't kid yourself to thinking it's anything besides money.
Yeah,
because it's not.
Well, I mean, it makes the world go round.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Andrew said it seems there's a much bigger gap in women's basketball between the 1 or 2 seeds and the rest of the field. The men's bracket seems a bit more even, if you will. And you're right. Yeah. You're right. Women are still trying to catch up on that, and there's still that number of teams that can actually compete for that national championship are much smaller on the women's side than the men's side. No. Richie said the Cinderella shoe dropped Sunday. St. Peter's had open looks and couldn't make a basket. I'm just surprised, and I'm going to be honest with you. I have truly been surprised of how many great games Carolina has been able to string together, because that's not what they showed during the season.
Right, but what they should, and I'm going to go on this, what they've shown is how you progress and come together and learn how to piggyback off each other's, strengths, and not really focusing on trying to improve the weaknesses. I think that's a great key to success. When you're coaching a team or even an individual. How many hours do you see somebody trying to make somebody something that they're incapable of being? Well, you just keep doing it this way, and they're incapable of doing it, but yet they're really good at this other thing over here. And instead of maximizing on that and take them out in a situation where the other thing that they don't do very well is likely going to pop up, but they're trying to always elevate the dysfunctional parts of their athleticism instead of elevating the things that they do great. And I think that's what Hubert Davis has kind of, whether he's done it by design or by default, with that type of play, with the type of players they have. And it looked like Duke was going just the opposite for a little while, but actually I don't believe that was the case now that I look at things. I think what Coach K was doing was exposing all of the things that need to be exposed
before
so they could make a run, because they weren't really challenged during the regular season. And I think he's I know he's a process-oriented guy. And one thing about Coach K, my girlfriend in college worked, her degree was in interior design, okay? And she worked she did an internship for a design firm in Jacksonville. Well, that design firm was in charge of Coach K and Mickey's beach house down in Morehead City, and she got to work on that. And, of course, she met with them and talked with them. She said they were two of the nicest people. She said you would never know that he's like this national championship.
I told you.
Yeah, this is in 1992, all right, right after they won their second one, back-to-back or whatever. And she was telling me, she's like, they are so nice. And what they did was they redesigned a couple extra rooms because they want the boys, the players, because he had all girls, right? He wanted his boys to be able to come down and relax for a few days, clear their head, do that, and then, go back to Durham. But it was really neat listening to how nice and personable and just how gracious they were about everything. She said they were the easiest people in the world to work with.
This was 7 or 8 years ago. I'm sitting around a table at Media Day for basketball, and I'm thinking that's somebody's pawpaw sitting there. I mean, he was just he was a totally different person from what you see. Tim Smith, good morning to you, sir. The shirts were a hit. Tim brought me some shirts. You'll like this. He needed his grandson's name put on the back, and I did that. And his daughter-in-law is a huge Yankee fan, at which he's not. Right. And she had gotten him a Yankee shirt because that's what the team was, the Yankees.
Right.
So he asked me, he said, can you put a red circle and a line through that on top of that Yankee emblem? Yeah, I can. Okay, let's do that. So that's what I did. It looks like a Ghostbuster. And so that's what I did. And his shirt has got the
I love
it's got the red circle and line through it. Yep,
that's awesome.
Richie said there's going to be 10 years taking off the lives of both fan bases this Saturday night. Phil said Coach K is a class act, and I will agree. And Andrew said K gave that gentleman a shake or high five every Duke home game. It was a great story, and it was. It was a great story, and there was a picture of it. Yeah,
I think you might be wrong. Not you, but you might be wrong if you don't think that gentleman's life was extended.
Oh, absolutely.
Of
yes,
the positive influence.
Yes,
and because, based on what I've read and heard, he shouldn't have lived to be age 60.
No.
Okay. I mean, it should have been a lot.
Especially from when he was born. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So this is a wonderful.
This is early 60s, yeah.
I mean, think about this is just incredible.
Yeah. The Cornwall said Gene Reap, if you remember who Gene Reap was in Lincoln, would tear his house apart on a Duke game. I knew Gene. Gene was a little bit older, but Gene was a Boy Scout counselor, and that's where I got to know Gene more than anything else. All right, we've talked enough. We got to get out of here. We got stuff to do. I got to go ride around all day.
Great.
I'm excited about that.
Great.
I am on security guard camera duty today, going to pull video. I can do things remotely, but I can't pull small clips. That technology is not there unless we spend a lot more money than what we're spending on camera systems. So I did put in a new system at a store that I can pull those clips, but it won't pull audio. And audio is one of those things that I got to have. But, hey, it's just part of the job. I'll ride around, drink Diet Pepsi, fill up thumb drives. It's my job. Okay? All right. Special guest tomorrow in studio, Sean Fountain. Sean is at CVCC, and he's been named the new cross-country coach. They're starting a cross-country program. His wife is Ellen, and I want to say she's at Jacobs Fork. I don't think she's at Ford, but she's at Jacobs Fork.
That's wonderful.
But Sean's going to join me in studio tomorrow. Said it'd give him a good reason to get up early and come down to J&L eat breakfast before he came in here. So I do what I can to help people out. That's my job.
The J&L's awesome.
Huh?
I love J&L.
When I was at the other place over beside of Fit Revolution, that was a bad habit to stop by after the show every morning for a sandwich because it was on the way.
Yeah, I love it.
It was on the way. How do you pass that up?
I'll go in there and get in the back, just kind of take my stuff in there like when I need to work and nobody bother me. I can go back in there and hide in the corner. It's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
It's a great
All right,
place.
you guys have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. You'll be back Thursday?
Yeah.
We'll be back on Thursday. Let's see. We got high school baseball tonight. I want to say, here's my schedule. Lincoln at West Lincoln, 6:45 tonight. Dave Keever, Rick Mitchum will have that game. We'll also have North Lincoln at West Lincoln tomorrow night at 6:15. David Keever and Mike Powell. And then here's a big one. Friday night, East Lincoln at North Lincoln.
Okay, so if you do, just one plug for them, if you do like high school baseball or even remotely interested in it, you've got to go to that game Friday night. There are kids – I got goosebumps thinking about it. There are kids that come train the facility. There are kids that, that are on those teams. I mean, I'm talking about massive home runs. I'm talking about 99 miles an hour. I'm talking serious high school baseball. It is.
I know they were telling it over the weekend. There's a kid from East Lincoln that has hit 9 home runs in 6 games. Yeah. 6 games. High school.
Yeah,
high school football's great.
Unsigned.
Yeah. High school football, baseball's great. High school sports are great.
The Blue Devils are at home tonight.
Against?
They are playing, I want to say maybe Newton tonight. Okay. And Fred T. Ford tomorrow. I know it's supposed to rain, but Ford's got a great team. Ford, East Lincoln, North Lincoln, and St. Stephen's are the
3A
4.
league.
Yeah, they are the 4 best high school baseball teams I have seen in a long time in this area.
Get out and support your local athletes, folks.
It's a great, good baseball.
Have a great day. See ya.